therapy to help them get better off of it. Certified athletic trainers in our PSM schools providing daily support to our athletes, and a specialized orthopedic walk-in clinic when injury strikes. Call 260-266-4007 to speak to our care navigators, or visit parkviewsportsmedicine.com to learn more about what we can do to improve athletes at all levels.
For every victory, for every highlight, for every team in the Summit Athletic Conference, we've got you covered. Like, follow, and subscribe for all the latest.
The Acme Bar and Grill, where neighbors meet. A Fort Wayne tradition since 1941. We feature nightly dinner specials along with our iconic pizza, wings, and pork tenderloins, and barbecue in our family-friendly atmosphere with a retro flair. Additionally, we offer a full bar with 26 beers on tap from various Midwest breweries. We also have an area perfect for private events such as meetings, reunions, and banquets that holds up to 50 people. The Acme Bar and Grill, located in the heart of East State Village, where neighbors
Give your home the curb appeal it deserves, and trust Kurt's Mio to power wash your home. Additional services include concrete sealing, deck and fence cleaning, driveway replacement, and stamped concrete. Just head on over to kurtzmio.com, request your virtual quote, and use the code SummitCity for 15% off all power washing services today. That's kurtzmio.com, supporting the youth of Fort Wayne.
The Kelley Automotive Group is simple, transparent, reliable. Simple. Our customer specialists make buying a car easy and fun. Transparent. Our price listed is the best price. No hassle, no gimmicks. Reliable. Buy with confidence and peace of mind. We work hard to ensure the best value however you shop. Come see us in Decatur at the 2733 Auto Mall and shop 7 brands in one location. The Kelley Automotive Group. Simple, transparent, reliable.
Joint pain, sprains, strains, or a possible broken bone? Make the Parkview Ortho Express walk-in clinic your first stop when you have an orthopedic or sports injury. Parkview Ortho Express, located at the Sport One Parkview Fieldhouse, gives you access to quick care and orthopedic physicians when you need it most. Get x-rays, treatment, and referrals to Parkview Care, all in the convenience of a walk-in clinic. Parkview Ortho Express is open Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Call 260-266-4007 for more information. Developing athletes to be foundationally strong. Healthy and consistent training. Expert staff. Long-term athletic development. Parkview Sports Medicine Performance. Any athlete, any age, any skill level.
I was once a Southside kid who was led on a journey by high school football. A journey that taught me discipline, toughness, and the skills that made me a success. As a businessman with a CPA license who owns his own firm, I still use the building blocks of high school sports in my everyday life. Someday sports will end no matter what level you reach, but you will be left with the skills to compete in the next game, the game of life.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our cameras. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome inside Bishop Dwenger High School for the second game of tonight's SAC doubleheader between the Bishop Dwenger Saints and the Carroll Chargers. I'm Balin Height. Peyton Manel will be alongside me tonight, as well as Joe Hacker on the camera, as Carroll coming into this one on a high note after their SAC Holiday Tournament Championship win. They won 3 straight games in that tournament. They moved to 8-1. They're 8-1 in the season, 2-0 in the conference. Meanwhile, Bishop Dwenger Saints still trying to find some consistency. 2-6 in the early season and 0-2 in conference play. Peyton, what are we looking for tonight?
As it was talked about early in the season, the Carroll Chargers came out hot in that SAC Holiday Tournament and proved everyone exactly what they can do, whether it was proven that it wasn't the competition that the Carroll Chargers were facing. It wasn't too easy, and they showed exactly what they can do in the SAC. Now bringing it here inside Bishop Dwenger, a tough crowd, let alone, but a tough competition that resolves in the Bishop Dwenger offense, coming out of Brendan Lytle, a team leader on the football field, on the gridiron, and coming into the court. He can run it all both ways, but they have multiple guys who can be down low and produce the points that they need to. Bishop Dwenger 2-6. Their record isn't everything, and when it comes to SAC matchups, anyone can win at any time. But for the Carroll Chargers, they have to rely on Jalen Jackson to run the guard position the way that he knows how. If he gets in a struggle and can't produce the points that the Carroll Chargers need on their offense, then other guys like Cody Berkey and Ryan Preston are going to have to step up and be able to create the shots that Jalen Jackson is not taking.
Absolutely, Peyton. For Carroll, it's going to be a question of, can you come out? You've shown what you can do. Now, are you going to be able to come out and really continue that level of play and that intensity as we get deeper and deeper into the conference slate? For the Saints, like I said, they're still trying to find that continuity. You mentioned Brendan Lytle. Get used to his name. We're going to be calling that name a lot tonight. Number 5 for the Saints. Can shoot it from anywhere on the floor. Can run it all over the floor. Is an absolute scorer and one of the top players within the conference tonight. You're going to see a great matchup between him and presumably Jalen Jackson, 2 of the top guards within the conference tonight. Saints led by head coach Matt Kostoff in his 21st year, and a 253 and 204 record for head coach Kostoff. A lot of consistency within this building for the Bishop Dwenger Saints from him. Meanwhile, he's opposed by head coach Marty Beasley for the Carroll Chargers as well in his 21st season. So both these two teams started their coaching in the same year. 220 and 119 for head coach Beasley here at Carroll, as they've both amassed some pretty nice records and some pretty memorable wins for each squad or for each of their teams. But ultimately, like we mentioned, Carroll coming in off of that SAC Holiday Tournament Championship. In that tournament championship, they won over the Snyder Panthers 60-49. Ray Vollmer had 20 points. Vollmer only a player who's averaging 6 in the season, and that 20 bumped his season total up a lot. He was kind of in the 3-4 range early on in the season, but an outstanding performance for him as well as some other players for the Chargers. And that really allowed the Chargers to kind of make a statement within the conference. Now they're going to look to continue that one.
And the Chargers kind of run around with just the 3-guard situation, but when it comes, there's a lot of guys on the Chargers offense who can run it all around as well. Guys out of Seth Cook, Micah Kirk coming in the last seconds can produce an offense as well, but guys like Jalen Jackson is really going to be able to run that offense. And guys, Richie Gross has been quiet, but he's bound to have a pretty significant game soon.
Absolutely. Richie Gross is one of those players that can absolutely score the ball for Carroll Chargers. And now we're going to get some starting lineups, so we'll swing it down to the PA. Carroll Chargers up first.
Number 2, Richie Gross. Also guard, number 4, Raymond Fulmer. And another guard, number 10, Ryan Preston. Also at guard, number 11, Jalen Jackson. And forward, number 55, Samuel Stricker. And the Chargers are coached by Marty Beasley. And now, the starting lineup for your Bishop Dwenger Saints. At one guard, a 6-foot junior, number 4, Xavier Nolan. Also at guard, a 6-foot junior, number 5, Brendan Lytle. Also at guard, 6-foot senior, number 20, Hunter Burns. And one forward, a 6'1 senior, number 23, Toby Kelley. And the other forward, a 6'3 sophomore, number 32, Owen Shively. And your Saints are coached by Matt Kostoff.
So there are the starting lineups for both squads, as it'll be Gross, Vollmer, Preston, Jackson, and Stryker. Meanwhile, Graves, Brandon Lytle, Hunter Burns, Toby Ecke, and Owen Shively. And it's nice to see Shively back in the starting lineup for the Saints after missing some time. He missed the game in the holiday tournament for the Saints. But he is back out there, and this Bishop Dwenger Saints squad is back to full strength, and I think we're going to see a different team moving on with a little bit more scoring options and a team that we haven't seen with this 2-6 record.
And as we mentioned pregame, that 2-6 record means nothing, especially coming into the SAC. Anybody can win anytime, and it all starts tonight for the Bishop Dwenger Saints.
Very good atmosphere here inside Bishop Dwenger High School, as the sanctuary, as they go by, loaded all the way up to the top. They are presumably the theme of blackout tonight for them in the all black, and then a nice little showing for the Carroll Chargers on the road as well, as the typical Neon Nation turning over to Jersey night on the road here at Dwenger. Nonetheless, we're ready for the tip. It'll be Ecke and Stryker starting things off, and we are underway. The Saints have the first possession of tonight's basketball game. We are in the state of Indiana. No shot clock, and 8-minute quarters will follow for 4 quarters. As Brennan Lytle already finding some space early on. If you're the Chargers, you got to shut that down. And then the turnover. Vollmer feeds it up to Richie Gross, who goes up and in and lays it up and in. Nice little touch there for Gross. And the Chargers score the first 2 points of the game.
Gross has always kept quiet, but when he gets a start out to like that at the beginning of the game, Gross is bound to have a big game, as we mentioned, and it all starts here with the first 2 points.
Good job defensively, as Carroll's making Brennan Lytle a little bit uncomfortable early. He feeds it to the corner for Burns, who drops a 3 in and out. A little too tough, and Ryan Preston ripped down that rebound. Back the other way comes Carroll. Richie Gross with it, feeds it back to Ryan Preston, who gives it to Vollmer near the mid-court line, and they'll start their offense. You mentioned Vollmer, 20 points in the SAC Holiday Tournament Championship game against Snyder. Corner 3 attempt for Ryan Preston. He's about as solid as it gets from those corners. Preston, a 45% free throw or 3-point shooter, leads the team from beyond the arc and can knock it down from that corner especially. Saints still looking for their first 2 points. 5-0 lead for the Chargers here early. Xavier Nolan on the drive. Says he takes too many steps.
And going back to Ryan Preston, he's a junior, still has 1 more year left under Beasley. And the offense that he likes to create and run, the dual threat with Jackson and Preston, is something to be reckoned with, especially going into their senior year.
It's a Carroll team that doesn't have a whole lot of size on their roster. The tallest guy that plays is 6'4". That's Sam Stryker down low right now. But what Carroll has is a lot of versatility. They got guys that can shoot the ball, come out in the arc, and also drive down low.
And as you mentioned, versatility is a big one, but athleticism. Athleticism runs in all of these guys, and they all know how to run the offense. And under Beasley's coached them at the varsity level for multiple years.
As Carroll really working the ball around well offensively. They find Jalen Jackson for the open 3-point attempt, and he rattles it home. An 8-0 run for the Chargers to start the game, 6:04 in the first quarter, and Carroll already looking solid out of the break and out of the defending title run right now for them. Lytle on the drive, kicks it over to Xavier Nolan, who gets in a little bit of trouble with Ray Vollmer. Saints looking to work it around the perimeter and try to find something down low. It's Burns with the ball right now, guarded by Sam Stryker. Over to Xavier Nolan, back to Burns, and ripped away by Jalen Jackson. Chargers go on the run. Jackson all the way to the cup. And they'll say an offensive foul on Jackson. They'll say he used the extension on the arm, I think, on the offensive drive. As quickly back the other way, he'll go up the floor and kind of get himself away from the situation.
And you can hear the atmosphere in the sanctuary here. Everybody's on their feet when the Carroll Chargers make a mistake.
Well, and Carroll, a team that's 8-1 right now, is probably going to have a target on their backs the rest of the way through conference play. Each team's fan bases and team knowing the challenge that they'll have, facing one of the better teams in the conference, and a really nice drive there from Hunter Burns in for 2 points, and the Saints are finally on the board, 8-2 with 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Carroll working the ball so smoothly as they find Sam Stryker down low with some space for 2 points. Xavier Nolan brings the ball up. Ryan Preston matches up with him. As Preston tipped it up and away, and then over the back as Nolan couldn't keep the ball in front of him in front of the half-court line. Slow start for the Saints, good start for the Chargers.
And as we're talking about Xavier Nolan, dude is a stud on the baseball diamond. He knows how to play, and he's just overall a freak athlete. So what he can do on the court tonight just proves how athletic he is when it comes to Bishop Dwenger sports.
For Dwenger, I think in general, you're going to see it's a smaller school, a lot of multi-sport athletes that really make a contribution early on in multiple different sports, and I think that provides some good versatility for each program within the school. Carroll leads 10-2. That'll be the first timeout taken by the Saints. As head coach Kostoff needed a second to check, kind of slow the game down just a bit, as Carroll has absolutely come out on fire offensively, leading things 10-2 with 4:32 left in the first quarter. No substitutions yet for either team. Ray Vollmer in. Right back down low to Stryker is Jalen Jackson for three. He's really feeling it from beyond the arc tonight. Jackson's not a player who typically takes too many three-pointers. Only shooting 25% of the season. On 10 shots or less for sure, and he's already got 2 tonight. He's 2 for 2 already beyond the arc. Long mid-range shot, good there. As Owen Shively, good to see him back scoring the ball. Jalen Jackson back with it. Comes off the screen from Richie Gross. We'll see if he wants to go on the drive. Instead, kicks it to Gross, who maneuvers his way into the line and gets his own offensive rebound after it was stripped away. Now Gross feeds it back down to the open Stricker and puts it up and in. And I'll tell you what, right now, this Carroll offense is absolutely picking apart the Saints defense.
The chemistry they built over the SAC Holiday Tournament shows exactly what's on this court, and the communication between all players on that team is where it rolls.
Nice little drive there from Xavier Nolan. 2 and the harm for the Saints, and now a little bit of life for them as that brings it under a double-digit lead, 9, with a chance to cut it to 8 at the line for Xavier Nolan. Couple of substitutions in for both squads as Nolan completes the three-point play. Now the lead 15-7. So we've got Cook, in for the Chargers, as well as Berkey, as Vollmer picks it back up where he left off in the Holiday Tournament. 2 points there, and back to a 10-point lead for the Chargers. Meanwhile, for the Saints, C.J. Piper in the game. As they're still looking for some rhythm offensively. Burns, long three-pointer. That'll bring the rhythm in. 17-10 now the lead for Carroll. And a little momentum here for the Saints. Their student section applauds. Vollmer moving on the drive. Feeds it down to Gross. Working around the basket, puts it up and in. That's short off the front of the rim. Rebound Dwenger. Still yet to get a whole lot from Brendan Lytle. Three-point attempt for him right here. That one rattles home.
And you see the momentum shift and change here in the sanctuary. You hear the student section on their feet. But Brendan Lytle and Burns, huge threes for the Saints offense.
Big three-pointer there for Lytle. And this Carroll lead just cut down to 4. 17-13, 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Vollmer on the drive, stripped away, and then kicked back out to Seth Cook. As Preston picked up a lot of contact there, no foul. And the Chargers relay things back around the perimeter. Ryan Preston ushers Reggie Gross, come and get it, Cody. Berkey, long three-point attempt, no good. Berkey, one of those shooters off the bench with limitless range, couldn't get that one to fall. And now quickly back the other way, the Saints offense. It's a 2-point game.
What a find by C.J. Pepper underneath the Shively. Shively's wide open underneath. And that's just high basketball IQ to be able to know that you have a guy underneath the bucket in a much-needed 2-point situation.
2-point game after Carroll came out in absolute control offensively. Group of substitutions, I think, really did the trick for Snyder, or Dwenger rather, excuse me. Looking off my notes here, as they are moving the ball a lot better and scoring it a lot better, as they trail by just 2 now coming out of the timeout.
I don't know where you are, but I'm in the sanctuary at Bishop Dwenger here.
I am still at Wayne High School with a little bit of SAC Holiday Tournament hangover.
A lot of action at the SAC Holiday Tournament. The SAC got to see a lot of competition in that tournament to see where everyone lies moving into tournament play later in the season, but there's a lot of work to be done in all of those teams, and should be a great tournament for all teams.
Still plenty of conference play left as Jalen Jackson couldn't get the feed up and in off the front of the rim, and a rebound for the Saints. They can tie or take the lead here. As that one almost out of the hands of Brennan Lytle. He's got the ball now. Over to Xavier Nolan. They're going to get an offensive foul, I think, somewhere in the paint. I think they're going to get maybe Lytle defensively with the push there, trying to find some position. And the Chargers will have an inbound play right in front of their bench.
A couple of offensive fouls seen early in this game. That could lead to the mistakes that both teams don't want to see in this game. That could lead to, once again, a nail-biter.
Carroll really needs a bucket here after Dwenger has stormed back into this one. A lot of contact on the drive from Jalen Jackson. A little bit of a fist pump from him on the drive as he drew some contact. And he'll head to the line to shoot 2. Jackson, a 71% free throw shooter. He's second in the team just behind Ryan Preston, who's an 87% free throw shooter. So Carroll does take care of the ball, and they shoot free throws well, which typically is going to lead you to a lot of wins. So far, 8-1 in the season.
Number 3, Brayden Rhodes.
58 seconds left in the first quarter as Jalen Jackson knocks down his 2 free throws at the line, and the lead back to 4 for Carroll.
Jackson picks up his 8th point already in the first quarter. He's bound to have himself a big night.
As that one rattled all around the rim, but rebound comes in the hands of Hunter Burns, and he lays it up and in. Back to a 2-point game. Carroll coming back the way offensively. Cook with the ball, feeds to Berkey. Carroll in a bit of a lull after some substitutions. Don't have that offensive rhythm they had early on. Berkey with the ball near the free throw line. Kicks it back to Jackson. Carroll can elect to take the last shot if they choose. Vollmer corner 3. That one a little bit long. No good. Now the Saints a chance to take the lead or tie. Feed down low to Ben Schreck, who puts it up and in. This one's all knotted up at 19. 6 seconds left. Carroll's got to work quick. Long 3-point attempt for Jalen Jackson. That one no good. Long rebound into the hands of Brandon Lytle. Sam Stryker gets a shot off. That one's no good. What a storm back from the Saints. And now you're hearing inside the sanctuary a lot of it. Atmospheric pressure for the Chargers. We're tied up at 19 apiece.
And a big run for the Bishop Dwengers came out of nowhere. And now putting on a show for their own home crowd. Burns coming out and finding himself with 7 points just behind Jackson. But looks like Burns is going to be the guy to keep an eye out on for the Bishop Dwenger Saints. It was talked to be possibly Lytle at the beginning of the game, but Burns has seen himself with a couple nice shots.
Minus a couple early 3-pointers from Carroll. There hasn't been a whole lot of offensive flow as they were looking sharp early on, but Dwenger made some adjustments after a timeout, and we find ourselves tied up at 19 apiece. We'll take a quick break here on SummitCitySports.com. When we come back, we'll have live action in the second quarter from Bishop Dwenger High School.
I was once a Southside kid who was led on a journey by high school football. A journey that taught me discipline, toughness, and the skills that made me a success. As a businessman with a CPA license who owns his own firm, I still use the building blocks of high school sports in my everyday life. Someday sports will end no matter what level you reach, but you will be left with the skills to compete in the next game, the game of life.
Welcome back inside Bishop Dwenger High School here as we are tied up 19 apiece for both squads. Good offensive stretches for each team early on as Sam Stryker takes the long inbound underneath. And they'll say a little too much contact on the shot. That one looked like a whole lot of ball there as that ball went all the way up in the air. Good defense, but a whistle nonetheless.
And you see Shrek pick up his second foul on the night. That could be a big situation for the Dwenger Saints.
Stryker knocks down the first free throw at the line. Sam Stryker, another excellent free throw shooter on this Carroll Chargers team. 71%. 5 points for him. Chance to push it to 6 here. Averages 9 on the season. So he's 3 points away from his average, and Carroll has a 2-point lead.
And as we talked about, it's an SAC game. Anything can happen here. And for the Dwenger Saints to take a roll as they did and tie it all up at the end of the first quarter, big games to come.
We've seen Dwenger and head coach Kostoff knock off some bigger opponents in years past in this building. It's just a different place for the Saints when they're at home. Berkey, long three-point attempt out the front of the rim, no good.
Berkey's one of those guys you can rely on when it comes to a three-pointer, but Berkey's not feeling himself tonight, and I guess that's where Jackson comes into play.
Cody Berkey, the junior, 38% shooter from down the arc, as that one is out of bounds, and the Saints turn the ball over. That starting lineup's out there minus Berkey, so 4 of the 5 starters in the game, with the exception of Ray Vollmer, who's sitting out, getting a breather right now on the bench for Carroll. Preston finds Stryker down low. Kick back to Jalen Jackson. He's got 2 3-pointers. Why not make it 3? As Carroll pushes the lead back to 5, and Jalen Jackson is 3 of 4 from them beyond the arc now. The answer, though, from the Saints, no good, as C.J. Piper wanted that one badly. As Richie goes behind the back, trying to find Ryan Preston in the corner. And Gross is waving his arms down low. He was wide open there for a split second. As Berkey's trying to find some space. On the drive back to Stryker, who draws the foul. Almost got the end one. I don't know how Stryker lofted that ball up and in. There wasn't a whole lot of space there, but that one popped out. So 2 free throws coming for him at the line.
A little uncontrolled going to the rim, but just a chuck up. As you mentioned, almost found himself with an and one. But as we go back to Jalen Jackson's three-pointer, you give Jalen a foot, and he's taking a mile. He's taking all of those feet and putting them together, and the Carroll offense is relying on him right now to hit a couple of shots.
Stryker knocks down the first of the 2-pair opportunity. And now 8 points for Sam Stryker on the night. He's 4-4 at the line. And the Carroll lead pushes to 7. So largest lead of the night for the Chargers was 11. Saints tied things up coming out of the quarter. They haven't scored a point yet in the second quarter. Xavier Nolan, long 3-point attempt, off the back of the rim, no good. And Ryan Preston, my goodness, just at 6'2", but the extension and the jump to get up there and grab that rebound. 4.6 rebounds per game. He actually leads the team in rebounds. There's a big reason why right there. 3-point attempt for Sam Stryker, no good. Long rebound out for the Saints, and they're going to look to run. Brendan Lytle's been rather quiet in tonight's matchup, and they're going to get him for the carry, I believe.
And you saw the look on Lytle's face as soon as he carried the ball. It looked like he was going to pass it, but didn't see an open teammate and just took the ball himself, but Carroll finds himself with the possession.
I'm willing to say Ray Vollmer might be the best defender that's a football on the gridiron and here in the gym. As I mean, he played football this season for the Chargers. He's going to Indiana State to be a corner. As Ryan Preston knocks that 3-pointer down. Carroll's lead back to 10. But back to Vollmer, excellent defender on the football field, an excellent defender in the gym here. He guarded Michael Ealy in that championship matchup in the Holiday Tournament, and really Ealy didn't have his way at all. Vollmer did a really nice job of shutting him down after a 31-point performance in the semifinal.
And with Vollmer coming in, especially on the Carroll defense, they lost Preston Shearer. And Preston Shearer was definitely one of the best defenders that Carroll has seen, let alone in all of their years in basketball. Preston brings it to the court, but Vollmer's picking up right in his places, and you saw it in the SAC Holiday Tournament.
A little bit of a heat check there from Jalen Jackson as that three-point attempt was long. Jackson, like I mentioned, has only attempted probably maybe 10 three-pointers all season long. He's definitely in the close to the single-digit mark. He's already attempted 5 tonight, and he's made 3, so not too bad of a sample size there for Jackson.
And as confident as he looks in his shot from the three-point line, he's a guy that drives the ball because he's so athletic, and he's built to drive the ball because he knows what he's doing, especially inside the paint.
Good defensive force there for Carroll. Saints are still without a bucket in the second quarter. It's kind of taking the crowd out of this game. It's taking the Saints offense out of this game. And we're 4:54 left in the first half. And they really need an answer here, but Carroll back with the ball on offense. Jackson goes on the drive. Nice feed to the back cut for Ray Vollmer. Found a little bit of space. And Jalen Jackson found him with the pass. 12-point lead for Carroll. And I think we're going to have a timeout called by head coach Kostoff.
And you see the unselfish play from Jalen Jackson. Instead of taking a mid-range, looking for Vollmer on the cut. But when it comes to the Bishop Dwenger Saints, they have to find someone who's going to lead them. And the guy that's going to be the leader is going to be out of their guard, whether it's Brendan Lytle, Hunter Burns, or even C.J. Piper is going to step in and be exactly what they know they can be and run the offense. Their record is starting to show, which is why they're 2-6. But if they barrel things together and knot them all together, then they have themselves a show, especially against Carroll after that first quarter.
Absolutely, and a guy I think that we really need to focus in on, who's been rather quiet, just 3 points tonight, is Brendan Lytle. Somebody that the Chargers have really taken out of the game, and I think it's like a broken record. We say it so many times in a broadcast, but the Chargers just have a way, defensively, of typically taking the best player out of the game on that team, and they make somebody else beat them. Every game, it seems like this season so far, Carroll has kept the leading scorer on the opposing team quiet.
And there's multiple times where other teams in general have stopped one of Carroll's main guys out of Jalen Jackson, allowing him not to score very many points. But then you have a whole bunch of other options that come to the table. And there's not a lot of teams in the SAC that can say they have 5 guys on the court that are going to run their offense.
Carroll's got 4 guys who are averaging 8 points or more. Ryan Preston, 9.3. Richie Gross, just over 8.5. Jalen Jackson, obviously 16 points per game, the leading scorer for this team. And then Sam Stryker at 9.1. So they've got, that's 4 guys in their starting lineup that are all 8 points or more. And that's a lot of consistency and a lot of contribution from multiple guys. And I think that's what Carroll's done so well in really allowing not just being, a one player team. As Cook checks out of the game after a short timeout there on the floor, just a minute for him.
And you see Dwenger has all their starters back in, but they have to find a leader, especially out of their guards.
Just offensively kind of out of flow as that one first went off the shin of Toby Ecke. He kicked it into the shin of Richie Gross, and then Gross knocked it out of bounds. So a little dysfunction there for both teams. Into the corner. Ryan Preston with the ball now. Ray Vollmer back with it, back to Jalen Jackson. See if the Chargers look to kind of slow things down. That's typically how they like to grind it out. As Vollmer, 3-point attempt, knocks it down. This game's starting to get away from Dwenger just a bit, Peyton.
When Vollmer starts hitting shots, that's when you know things are about to go down, especially in the SAC Holiday Tournament. You saw against Snyder that he put on a show, and if he puts the place and picks up the shots, that's what he's going to do.
Well, I'll tell you what, too. If Carroll can add another scorer to this already good starting lineup, Vollmer the only player not averaging 8 points or more in this Carroll lineup. And if he starts becoming the scorer that he started to really blossom into, especially out of the tournament, this is a very dangerous starting lineup in the state of Indiana. They're already 10th in the Sagarian rankings. 91.65 is their rating. That's 9th out of the 4A, obviously. So 4A, a very deep, talented class. We want to talk about postseason a little bit later. But this Carroll team is kind of showing you right now why they're one of the better in the state.
And mind you, they have the athleticism on their team. They run 4 guards and a forward, the forward being Sam Stryker down low. But the 4 guards that they run can all run the offense, whether they're bringing it up the ball, being shifty, or getting rebounds. They're not the biggest guys on the court, but they'll get the rebounds that they need and make progression and second chance opportunities for the offense.
Dwenger, meanwhile, just looking for something offensively. Feed all the way up to Ryan Preston. He'll elevate and lay it up and in for 2 more. Nice feed from Stryker to Ryan Preston, who their AAU teammates in the summertime, I'm sure they've had plenty of those opportunities during the AAU season, as that is about as easy as it gets for those two. Look at the power for Carroll, just all over the floor. I mean, Richie Gross and Jalen Jackson, they were fighting over the ball on the floor, and they're their own teammates.
There's just that chemistry that this team has built that not a lot of teams in the SEC have built yet, let alone all year and what they're going to get. But coming out, it's the first 6 minutes of the game, and the Saints have yet to score in the second quarter.
Ryan Preston, long corner 3. Nothing but net, and this one is starting to get out of hand for the Saints as Ryan Preston knocks down his second shot from that spot tonight. 38-19 the lead, and you mentioned, Peyton, Dwenger still without a bucket in the second quarter.
Carroll has hit 7 threes this entire game so far, and it just continues to roll in the second quarter.
And Jalen Jackson a little too handsy on the steal attempt, according to the official right in front of the Carroll bench. Second foul on Jackson. And he'll take a seat on the bench for probably what will be the remainder of this 2 minutes in the second quarter. Out to the top of the key. Dwenger still looking for a bucket, as this game was tied up, folks, 19-19 at the end of the first quarter. Now we'll get a jump ball. See where the possession arrow favors, and it's going to stay down here with the Saints. As Lytle couldn't get it inbounded, now he does to Hunter Burns. A 19-0 run for Carroll in this second quarter. It's pretty remarkable. And Lytle, no good on the first attempt at the line, so still no points here. Lytle, one of the more reliable scorers and shooters for the Saints. Knocks down that one, and finally the Saints with a point in the second quarter. Preston brings it up, feeds it off to Sam Stryker. Stryker finds Vollmer. Now Vollmer will rotate things out. 1:30 left in the second quarter. This is exactly where Carroll wants an opponent. Up with a big lead, they can take their time or fire a three-point attempt. That one's long from Cody Berkey, no good. And I think that might have rolled off a Saints defender. So Dwenger couldn't corral it, and the Chargers will get another shot.
And you see the frustration coming off of Cody Berkey not being able to hit a 3 yet in this game. As we mentioned, one of the most reliable three-point shooters on the Carroll offense. But he's feeling the frustration right now.
Coach Kostoff looking for a bit of an explanation. I'm not sure what that discussion was in front of the Dwenger bench. Upset with something or a little confused about something, potentially. Vollmer looking for an inbounder. He can't find one. Now he does. Back to Gross near the half-court line. Vollmer back to Gross. See how long Carroll wants to play out this possession. 1:11 left in the second quarter. Stryker with it at the top of the key. He's guarded by C.J. Piper. Or rather, Owen Shively. And a little too much offensive contact for Richie Gross. As that was C.J. Piper who hit the floor. An offensive foul. And Dwenger gains the possession here with 58 seconds left, just a minute left in the first half. 47 seconds left in the first half, and now we get Ray Vollmer with a little too much contact defensively. Inbound right in front of the Chargers bench. So Ray Vollmer picks up the foul. 7th team foul for the Chargers, and now the Saints are in the bonus for the remainder of this 44 seconds. Lytle able to get that front end of the 1-and-1 to go down. Kind of took an awkward roll off to the right and then settled back down into the hoop.
Lytle has to step his game up in the second half if Dwenger wants a chance. He has 5 points at the moment, but he has to be the leader for this offense.
42 seconds left in the first half. Lytle's just been held to 5 points. And that's kind of been the story here as this Charger offense has had its way early on. 38-21. A little too much contact there from Hunter Burns. Draws the foul. Now Carroll set the inbound up offensively. Near the scorer's table, Ray Vollmer seeds it in to Seth Cook. Now back to Vollmer. Under 30 seconds left. We'll see if Carroll wants the last shot. Vollmer checks the clock. Sees 15 seconds left. Looking for the best possible shot of the Chargers. Working it down low to Seth Cook. Fires in the corner. Ryan Preston. He's hit 2 from there tonight. Can't get that one to rattle in, but Stryker almost had the rebound. Instead, it comes out to the Saints. Brandon Lytle. He'll go cross court to court. Step in front of the three-point line. And couldn't get that one to fall. So we'll head to half. Carroll Chargers lead the Bishop Dwenger Saints 38-21. We'll take one quick timeout here on SummitCitySports.com. We return. We'll have some analysis from the first half. You're listening and watching Indiana High School basketball on SummitCitySports.com.
Okay, also after the trumpet gun, we're going to have the dance team, so please.
Sports Medicine's integrated sports medicine team is built to serve the needs of all athletes in all sports. Our team's only goal is to improve athletes in every facet. PSM offers performance training to help athletes get better on the field, dedicated athletic rehabilitation and physical therapy to help them get better off of it, certified athletic trainers in our PSM schools providing daily support to our athletes, and a specialized orthopedic walking clinic when injury strikes. Call 260-266-4007 to speak to our care navigators or visit ParkviewSportsMedicine.com to learn more about what we can do to improve athletes at all levels.
For every victory, for every highlight, for every team in the Summit Athletic Conference, we've got you covered. Like, follow, and subscribe for all the latest.
The Acme Bar and Grill, where neighbors meet. A Fort Wayne tradition since 1941. We feature nightly dinner specials along with our iconic pizza, wings, and pork tenderloins, and barbecue in our family-friendly atmosphere with a retro flair. Additionally, we offer a full bar with 26 beers on tap from various Midwest breweries. We also have an area perfect for private events such as meetings, reunions, and banquets that holds up to 50 people. The Acme Bar and Grill, located in the heart of East State Village, where neighbors
Give your home the curb appeal it deserves and trust Kurt's Mio to power wash your home. Additional services include concrete sealing, deck and fence cleaning, driveway replacement, and stamped concrete. Just head on over to kurtzmio.com. Request your virtual quote and use the code SummitCity for 15% off all power washing services today. That's kurtzmio.com, supporting the youth of Fort Wayne.
The Kelley Automotive Group is simple, transparent, reliable. Simple. Our customer specialists make buying a car easy and fun. Transparent. Our price listed is the best price. No hassle, no gimmicks. Reliable. Buy with confidence and peace of mind. We work hard to ensure the best value however you shop. Come see us in Decatur at the 2733 Auto Mall and shop 7 brands in one location. The Kelley Automotive Group. Simple, transparent, reliable.
Joint pain, sprains, strains, or a possible broken bone? Make the Parkview Ortho Express walk-in clinic your first stop when you have an orthopedic or sports injury. Parkview Ortho Express, located at the Sport One Parkview Fieldhouse, gives you access to quick care and orthopedic physicians when you need it most. Get x-rays, treatment, and referrals to Parkview Care, all in the convenience of a walk-in clinic. Parkview Ortho Express is open Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Call 260-266-4007 for more information. Developing athletes to be foundationally strong. Healthy and consistent training. Expert staff. Long-term athletic development. Parkview Sports Medicine Performance. Any athlete, any age, any skill level.
I was once a Southside kid who was led on a journey by high school football. A journey that taught me discipline, toughness, and the skills that made me a success. As a businessman with a CPA license who owns his own firm, I still use the building blocks of high school sports in my everyday life. Someday sports will end no matter what level you reach, but you will be left with the skills to compete in the next game, the game of life.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our cameras. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
Welcome back, everybody, inside Bishop Dwenger High School as the Chargers leading the Saints right now 38-21. Balin Height here alongside Peyton Manell. Joe Hacker on the camera for us tonight. It's been all Carroll offensively early on as the Saints had a bit of a push in the first quarter, bringing it back to 19. We entered the second quarter, all tied up at 19, but since then it's been all Carroll. And to see the score, Saints only 2 points in the second quarter. Meanwhile, Carroll 19, a 19-2 run for the Chargers across that second quarter. It's been the difference tonight on the scoreboard. It's really been the difference in the game as well.
And as you mentioned, it was all Carroll all the first half. But for when it comes to scores, Ryan Preston and Jalen Jackson are really leading the offense for the Carroll Chargers, being able to come in and make the shots that they need to. Ultimately, three-pointers, when they both split, they have 6 of the 7 three-pointers, just 2 guys on the team. So running that offense, Carroll knows exactly what they want to do, and they're going to keep putting the ball in the hands of those 2 guys. On the other end of the court, the Bishop Dwenger Saints, Brendan Lytle with 5 and Hunter Burns with 7. Burns, let alone, has hit a 3 himself, moving the ball just the way that he wants to, but Dwenger has to find where they're going to lead their offense and what leader is going to step up to produce the points that they need to put on the board against the Carroll Chargers.
Absolutely. You need to see some of the mainstays. Talk about Brandon Lytle getting a little bit in the action as well, scoring the ball, but just a couple points for him, I believe 5. And that's really not going to do it for this Saints team, who it sometimes lacks a little bit of firepower. They've been injured, they've been beat up. They sit at 2-6. The record's not an indication of where this team's at. But Carroll, rather, maybe their record an indication of where they're at 8-1, and just, they methodically kind of tear you apart a little bit. It seems like defensively, they pick their spots to hit, and then they attack them well, and then when that's shut off, they move to another spot, whether that's down low or beyond the arc. They just are a very versatile team. We've seen that so far through the first half.
And as we talked about, the 4-guard system that they run, the chemistry is something on the Carroll Chargers that none of the other SAC teams have, and that gives them the advantage, especially in the SAC Holiday Tournament, coming out with the win and then moving now into their first game since break, coming out against Bishop Dwenger and putting up the 38 points they did in the first half. And now they already have a big advantage. But the chemistry relies in this offense, whether they run the 5 guys that are on the court or they mix in the other 5 guys that are sitting on the bench and rotating them. Beasley can run a specific offense and continue to run multiple guys onto the court, and production will be made on the court in all aspects, whether you play a guy underneath and you have Sam Stryker putting up buckets, or you have him kicking out to multiple guys like Ray Vollmer, Ryan Preston, Jalen Jackson, and let alone Caleb Berkey. Caleb Berkey has been a little cold in the first half, but in multiple games he comes out in the second half and he's strong. He's not hitting the regular jumpers and the regular three-pointers that people see. He's shooting shots from 26 feet and making them. And on the other hand, Dwenger has to rely on Brendan Lytle, the strong guard that he has always been on this varsity level, and play the way that Brendan Lytle knows how to play.
Owen Shively, also a very talented scorer for the Saints, but we mentioned he's been beat up a bit. Had some injuries he dealt with over the past few games. He's back in the lineup, but it's probably just kind of a readjustment period for him, really getting those in-game reps that you sometimes go without when you're on the bench injured. We'll take a peek at the Summit Athletic Conference standings and where they stand, as Carroll and Homestead, as well as Southside, all at 2-0, so they're deadlocked in the top 3 quadrant in the conference. Meanwhile, Snyder, Bishop Lewis, Concordia, and Wayne all sit at 1-1, and then Northrop, Dwenger, and Northside all without wins in the conference play so far. So you look at that, where the conference is kind of shaping out. We take our observations from the holiday tournaments early on in the season, so we won't take too much from it. But I think there's 3 teams in the conference that we talked about how when Carroll, maybe one thing's not working, but they're not worried. They move on to another guy. They've got different guys, different types of scorers that can score at different points of the game. There's probably 3 teams in the SAC, in my opinion, that have that kind of like, okay, now what attitude. So it's, if he's not scoring, now this person needs to score, or we need to move the ball here, or do this offensively, or even pick the slack up on defense. There's 3 teams, in my opinion, Carroll, Homestead, and Snyder, who are all very capable of that. We look at their overall record. Carroll 8-1, Homestead 6-3, and Snyder 8-2. Southside 2-0 in conference play. They've been solid, but they're on a 4-game losing streak. So starting to kind of dip out of that. We'll see where they end up after tonight as conference play is back in session. But Snyder, Homestead, and Carroll, all 3 teams to watch. All 3 teams are yet to play each other as well. So later season matchups could swing or impact a certain way in the conference standings at the end of the season.
And when it comes to injuries, teams are always more prone to injuries, especially in high school. Players not taking care of their bodies the way that they should be. And when a team can rely on a bench to pick up for a solid player that's in the starting rotation, and being able to come out and have a player off the bench come in and produce that role that they need to, those are the 3 teams that are going to be able to do it, especially in the SAC. Coming out of that, they have to be strong and they have to be fit to move, especially deep in the tournament.
Absolutely. That's the biggest thing in the state tournament run. It's, okay, so you've won your sectional, you've gone through the gauntlet, and now it's time to move on to regionals. You got to win 2 more games, and then 1 game, and then 1 more ultimately in the state tournament. So it's not just a string of if you can play well over 1 or 2 games. It's a string if you can play over 5 or 6 games, potentially. And these are the type of teams, the way Carroll's kind of aligned themselves so far this season, that you typically see doing well in that type of arena. But still a long season to go, and still a lot of questions to be answered for both teams here tonight and all the other teams as well in the conference.
And we got to think about it as well, going deeper into the tournament that both of these teams will run, that when you get to the tournament, you're playing teams like Carmel and Fishers, the bigger teams in that situation where they have multiple guys that they're picking from. Huge schools, double the size of most of the schools in the Summit Athletic Conference, let alone any school in Indiana. You're playing some of the toughest competition, and let alone those guys can rotate consistently. So finding the right guys off your bench and being able to manipulate them and play them in practice the way that they're going to play in the game is something that all coaches have to take into perspective.
And I think that's the nice thing about the SAC is that in any given year, there's probably 5 or 6 teams that are really competitive and are really going to give you their best. That only prepares you for sectional play, as well as, you know, the scheduling outside of the conference is very important as well. Building your opponents, playing your sectional opponents, your potential sectional opponents during the regular season, just so you kind of know what to expect from them, as typically teams do build their non-conference schedules. But that's the power of the SAC and that size of a conference, where the competition on any given night is playoff potential and sectional. Like, it's a sectional feel. You felt that in the holiday tournament. You feel that in games like tonight. Maybe not with the score indication, but just the product on the floor. and I think that's a plus of the SAC.
Especially in the crowd alone. I mean, you have big crowds in the Summit Athletic Conference all around. The SAC carries huge crowds in every home arena that you're going to be playing in. And the crowds are vicious. They'll play because it's such a tough competition. And you're always wanting your team to win, obviously, but the Summit Athletic Conference brings something different to the game of basketball in Indiana that a lot of schools don't have.
Absolutely, as both teams are set to come back out on the floor. We are through the halftime break and set and locked in for some third quarter action. Dwenger needs to pick up the pace quickly. I think they need a big statement offensively here, maybe a 6-0 run to start things off if they really want to work their way back in this game. Got some work to do. They trail by 17 as we're waiting to get the official start ready. As Gross is chatting with FAR official, getting things straightened out. As we're underway in the third quarter, the Chargers start with the ball. Both starting lineups out there, and right away, Carroll going to the glass down low. No good, but tipped out by a Dwenger defender, and they'll have another shot. So 9 seconds in and a quick shot for Carroll already.
Gross already has himself with 2 fouls on the night. Has to be careful in the second half before one of their top players could be sitting out of the rest of the game.
Haven't really seen Carroll get into a whole lot of foul trouble this season. Pretty disciplined defensively, but Richie Gross up and in, muscles in for 2 more points. He'll head the line to look to complete the and one opportunity. Gross just a 43% free throw shooter, a bit of area of his game where he struggles just a little bit. And that one a little too strong, knocks in and out. And Jalen Jackson skied in looking for the offensive rebound. Couldn't get it, and it'll interchange possessions for the Saints. See how Carroll looks defensively and how the Saints look to counteract that to get back into this one. Long three-point attempt for Hunter Burns, finds the twine.
Burns finds himself with his 10th point on the night.
I believe that's the leading scorer for the Saints tonight. So 10 points for Burns. He leads all Saints players. And now a little bit of a life. They trail by 16. Striker looking to work on Eki. Couldn't get it, almost stripped away by Burns. Nice heads-up play defensively from him, but Ryan Preston finds it. And we'll get a kick ball under the baseline. So there'll be an inbounds from the baseline for Carroll. And right back out to Ryan Preston. Now Carroll surveys. Back to the corner for Striker. Thought about feeding Jalen Jackson, who was cutting in under the basket. Chargers will slow things down here. Back out to Gross. The turnaround feed to Preston. Gives it right back to Gross. Carroll very comfortable dribbling this ball out. Kind of handling their offensive possession. The perfect execution, up 16 with 6:12 left in the third quarter. Jackson goes on the drive. So strong as Jalen Jackson, but that one wouldn't fall down, and I think we've got an over-the-back call on that rebound.
Eke picks up his first foul. But as you mentioned, Jalen Jackson just so strong underneath the bucket. Only 6 foot, but runs the guard position and knows how to play the center position for how small he is.
And there's that ability to rebound offensively on the glass for Jalen Jackson. He's kind of a prototypical slasher type. 13 points for him. He leads all scorers in tonight's contest. 42-24, almost a 20-point lead right now for Carroll. Turnaround jumper, no good. Rebound, the Chargers. Gross with it now. Thought about maybe pushing it. Instead, he pulls it back. Finds Preston, wide open, corner three. Can't get it off the front of the rim. And that one almost tipped out. Jalen Jackson had it. And I think they're going to get Jalen Jackson with the foul. A little too much contact there. Skying up for that offensive board. That's number 3 for Jalen Jackson.
Looked like Jalen Jackson just got tangled up with him Both of them fell straight onto the floor. You saw Jalen kind of look confused about the call. Beasley alone as well. That's what you get in basketball.
That is number 3 on Jackson. It's kind of funny. Jackson's actually drawn, I think, more fouls, trying to get the offensive board rather than playing defense. Nice three-point attempt and make there for Owen Shively. Starting to get a little bit more comfortable after that injury.
But absolutely, on the offensive rebounds, Jalen Jackson's is so strong. He wants that board, but he comes down picking up the foul ultimately.
Good answer from the Saints. 5:02 left. 42-27 the score. Carroll with the lead. Striker working his way around on the drive. Brendan Lytle wanted to travel. The referee's going to say contact on the drive. Lytle can't believe it. Yet Sam Striker will head to the line to shoot 2 on the shooting foul. 71% free throw shooter. That ties the team leader. Or rather, ties the second place team leader in free throw percentage with Jalen Jackson. Knocks down the first. Team leader is 87%. That'd be Ryan Preston from the free throw line.
Eke picks up his second foul. He'll make his way to the bench.
And rebound brought in for the Saints by Braden Groves. Still trying to find that rhythm offensively. Ever since that first quarter, they've really been out of sync. Groves goes on the drive, cut off by the defender and Gross. Skies it back to the three-point line. Long three-pointer. That one rattled up and in. You thought it might fall, but it dropped out. And a rebound, then a foul on the rebound, I believe, by the Saints. Got a bit of a stoppage. I'm not sure what the confusion is. The referee's just waiting to get in place, I believe.
Groves picks up his first foul. But Shively has such a nice shot from the perimeter, whether he plays the 4 underneath or is trying to shoot some three-pointers as well, but just so strong.
Shively just a sophomore.
And Brendan Lytle makes his way to the side bleachers on the baseline. As he gets pushed, you saw his face looking for a foul with the offensive push-off.
Those bleachers have been pretty dangerous, I'd have to say, as Seth Cook finds the feed and puts it up and in. Back to those baseline bleachers, though. I remember a couple years ago, I think maybe 2 seasons ago, David Ezja skied in for a dunk all the way down on a transition lay-in. Lost it, went out a little bit of control. I can't remember if he completed the dunk, got the 2 points or not. But I know he hit those bleachers really hard. It was loud. The whole gym was quiet. And I've never seen those bleachers actually in use or being down. So kind of a questionable spot here in the gym at Bishop Dwenger High School.
Definitely seems like a hazard.
Braden Groves finds himself 3 points. Lead cut down just to 15 for Carroll. 3:38 left in the third quarter. Dwenger still starting to hang around, though. Still trailed by 15. But with a couple turnovers like that, they can bring this one a little bit closer. Now the inbound for the Saints. Burns will bring the ball up.
Shively wide open.
Drops it in for 2. Nice maneuverability there, I should say.
Wide open.
Shively
was, yeah, exactly. As you just what you were about to say. Shively wide open the entire time, sitting right in the paint, finding for an easy 2 mid-range. He just has such a nice stroke coming from wherever he's shooting it from. The man can shoot.
A lot of confidence for Shively. 6'3" sophomore.
Big winner. Come on now. Get your official scores table.
As the lead now just 13 for Carroll. They'll have the ball, though, after the Shively bucket. 3:12 left in the third quarter. Still plenty of time left for the Saints to work themselves back into this one. They went on a run similar to this in the first quarter to tie things up. Going to need a little bit more of that right now.
Burns leading the Saints with 10 points. Jackson leading the Chargers with 13. But Jackson now on the bench. Carroll has to make something of it.
Nice feed for Vollmer to Cook down low. Easy feed and 2 points for the Chargers.
Seth Cook getting his minutes and making them valuable, especially being able to find himself just let alone with 4 points back to back. And Seth Cook has been something special that the Chargers can rely on.
He's kind of that stopgap sometimes for head coach Marty Beasley. He'll come in for Sam Stryker if Stryker needs a break, or you can play both of them at the same time, as you're seeing right now, a little bit of a bigger lineup. Foul on Vollmer. Vollmer not too sure about that one. Draws the ire of the Bishop Dwenger student section. As if I know Ray Vollmer, he loves that though.
Absolutely. He'll trash talking football, basketball, whatever you name it. But it's just a competitiveness that comes straight out of him, and he's a player.
One of the best competitive players as he grabs the steal right there. That was Vollmer in the SAC, whether that be on the football field or in the gym. He's got the ball now. Carroll content with kind of slowing this game down to their pace. 47-32 the lead, 1:56 left in the third quarter. Berkey in the game now finds Stryker, kicks it around the perimeter. Carroll will rotate. Now a nice feed down low from Vollmer to Cook, but I think Braden Groves may have gotten a little bit of a hand on that ball, but it was a really nice feed coming from the baseline for Vollmer. Nice job by the officials there, turning things around and making the call. Simple discussion. Carroll have an inbound into their basket. Back to Stryker. Over to Preston. Preston back out to Vollmer.
In times like this when teams are up big, I know we've mentioned this multiple times, but this is when a shot clock comes in handy for Indiana basketball.
Sam Stryker, one of the dunk there. I think he got too much of the rim. I don't know if we'll call that a complete. We'll give him a 5.6 on that one, maybe. Not quite a full dunk, not at quite the 10. But good bounce there to get up in the rim. That was pretty much parallel with the bucket.
Effort is what counts.
Absolutely, and hey, he still got the 2 points.
Exactly, it's exactly what I was going to say. 2 points.
A little bit of a later start here from the girls' game into the guys' game for tonight's matchup in the doubleheader. Typically the games are wrapping up just right about now, but we still got a quarter of play. Some of the scores are starting to fill in from around the SAC. Some games are starting to complete around the conference. Sam Stryker on the drive onto Braden Groves. Stryker with the bump and the whistle. 2 shots coming for him at the line.
Groves picking up his 3rd foul. And the Saints already with 7 fouls, putting the Chargers already at a 1-1. Sam Stryker shooting his 2 on the shooting foul, but this is a situation that needs to be worried about, especially in the Dwenger offense. If this game were to come close in the 4th quarter, Carroll already has a chance and an advantage at the free throw line. And Carroll's been decent at the free throw line, especially they're fouling Sam Stryker, and Sam Stryker is shooting very well from the free throw line. Sam Stryker just shooting 71% from the line, as you mentioned. Ryan Preston, the only one above him.
As Stryker no good, then picks up the foul and back the other way at the free throw line. I believe that might have been a lane violation the first time. That allowed him to get a second shot. Still didn't make the second attempt, so the lane violation, no harm, no foul.
Sam Cook did foul. Push off. Push off foul.
So foul on Cook. Lytle now with the ball. Tipped away by Ryan Preston, though. Look out in that front row. The little boy's kind of sitting down low, and I think his mom's going to bring him a little bit closer, telling him to sit up on his seat, or something else could have happened there. Got to be careful here at Bishop Dwenger as the bleachers are rather close to the action. You got to keep your eye on it, especially if you're sitting in that front row.
Multiple times bleachers come up in the talk here at Bishop Dwenger.
It's close quarters, but still a great gym, a great place for some basketball. They redid the bleachers here a couple years ago as Lytle no good on that three-point attempt. Really a different feel. Changed up the lighting a little bit. Nice renovation of the gym. And not to mention the press amenities up here for us. Easy setup, really nice and easy as Cody Berkey can't get that one to fall. He struggled tonight from beyond the arc. Brendan Lytle back the other way right before the buzzer. That one will count for 2 points. So a quiet first half for Brandon Lytle, a quiet third quarter. That's his first 2 points of the half. As we will take a quick break. Heading into the fourth quarter. Carroll High School leading the Bishop Dwenger Saints 50-34. We'll take a quick break on SummitCitySports.com. When we come back, we'll have live Indiana High School basketball from SummitCitySports.com.
And that winner is Mike Donovan.
Kelley Automotive Group is simple, transparent, reliable. Simple. Our customer specialists make buying a car easy and fun. Transparent. Our price listed is the best price. No hassle, no gimmicks. Reliable. Buy with confidence and peace of mind. We work hard to ensure the best value however you shop. Come see us in Decatur at the 2733 Auto Mall and shop 7 brands in one location. The Kelley Automotive Group. Simple, transparent, reliable.
Welcome back inside Bishop Dwenger High School as we've got the final 8 minutes of tonight's matchup. 50-34 the lead, 50-36 Brendan Lytle. 4 straight points for him right at the buzzer and then right out of the break. 14-point lead, starting to trim things down on the Saints. Cook feeds it off to Jackson. Jackson back in the game after he missed a good portion of that third quarter in foul trouble. 3 fouls for Jalen Jackson. Carroll moving the ball around. Good defense from Lytle as Gross shook him the other way. And that's the ability that Carroll can show. Passing the ball and distributing it. Breaks the ankles of the defender, passes it around to an open man, and then there's another open player or offensive player for the Chargers and Seth Cook right below the baseline for an easy 2.
And it's just the chemistry that comes straight out of Carroll's offense, being able to rely on each other and the practice that they work on. Beasley has ran this offense the way that he wants to, and the chemistry just mixes so well together, and being unselfish about it, you see a couple moves there, and Sam Stryker finds Cook down low.
Quick turnover back the other way. The Chargers have the ball once again, and this is kind of a danger moment right now for the Saints. A little bit of momentum swing right there for the Chargers. If they get a bucket here, you're fighting an uphill battle the rest of this fourth quarter. Cook right with the ball, couldn't force that one in and through. And a long pass from Brandon Lytle. I think that one might have just gotten out of his hands. I don't know if he was looking to feed it to the corner, and that just slipped up. The motion he was kind of dragging just threw it right into the band in the stage.
A little shooken up, it looks, from Brendan Lytle, as maybe falling on the ground had a little bit to do with it. But you see the Carroll student section start chirping now as Brendan Lytle has made a couple of turnovers here in the first couple minutes.
Still the most important player, at least scoring offensively, I think, for Dwenger. And if they're going to get back into this one, they're going to need a shot, as both student sections taking shots at each other right now. Carroll starting to dribble this one out. 6 minutes left in the game. Feed to Jalen Jackson, making a cut on the basket. A little too soft on that one, but Richie Gross there to pick up the rebound and 2 more points.
Gross so strong with his body and athletic, he knows how to break it.
And three-pointer, no good for Groves. Long rebound for Gross for the Chargers. And now Carroll really going to start to work this clock out, I think.
Chargers led by Ryan Preston and Jalen Jackson, as well as Sam Stryker. Stryker with 12, Jackson with 13, and Preston with 11. The Saints led by Hunter Burns with 10, Brendan Lytle with 8, and Shively with 7.
If you can get 3 guys in double digits in scoring in the SAC, you're probably going to have a good night most nights. That's what the Carroll Chargers have been able to do tonight. As that one riled in and out, now that we've got to stop, we'll take a look at that last offensive possession for the Chargers on the Summit City Sports replay. Gross comes back over and grabs the ball, draws the guard to Lytle, and then absolutely shakes his defender. Open man, nope, right back down to Seth Cook, who lays it in for 2.
Shake and bake for Richie Gross. A great move and a great finish for Seth Cook.
Really nice job there by the Carroll offense, working it through all stops. Vollmer feeds it to Stryker. He'll go baseline, kick it back to the corner to Preston. Now back to the top to Jalen Jackson. Still quick motion for the Chargers right now, even with the lead. Gross thought about a shot. Instead, he'll hold and work it back around. Jalen Jackson just maneuvers his way into the lane and finds himself a shot. Foul, they'll say, on the floor. That's the 8th foul, rather, for the Saints. So 1-1 from here on out for Carroll.
Shrek wasn't playing very much at the beginning of the second half. Could be because he just picked up his 3rd foul now. But Dwenger wants to be careful on those fouls.
No good on the attempt for Jalen Jackson on the 1-1, so Dwenger will get the ball right back. Stolen away by Ryan Preston, and we could get a slam right here. Nope, Preston going to lay it up and in. Smart play there from him. Brings the lead to 20. Ryan Preston can definitely get up there. We've seen him sky up on those rebounds. You'd have to think that he's at least practiced it in the gym. Maybe not quite comfortable with it yet. Down low, swiped out of the hands by Richie Gross. CJ Piper trying to get control of the ball. And a technical foul for head coach Matt Kostoff. I'm not quite sure if he was in the ear of the official down on the left side of the screen here. Wasn't being very active, at least showing it with his hands, but maybe just what he was saying in the ear of the official. So
there's been a lot of controversy, especially all around sports with referees, let alone this year. But as you can tell, I'm sure it was something said to the ref that he didn't agree with. And being in such a 20-point game now, there's not much that you can really say.
Ryan Preston, the best free throw shooter on the Chargers team. 87% of the season, he'll go to the line and shoot the technical free throws. But for the Chargers right now, it's kind of about just trying to finish this one off strong with a positive note. If you're Dwenger, maybe try to build a little bit from this game. Get some guys some minutes who potentially don't play in those close game situations. As Lytle will check out with 4:04 left in the 4th quarter.
And even in a 22-point lead, you see Beasley still keep his starters out on the floor. But in multiple games, you'll see him rotate a lot of guys in just to get some minutes. But maybe this is a game where he lets another minute go and substitute all the starters out.
I think you called it right on the right on the needle there, Peyton. As head coach Beasley's going to empty his bench in and put in the guys that JV come and play some varsity minutes. As Ryan Preston, long three-pointer, no good. Offensive rebound from Jalen Jackson, and a swarm of Saints defenders puts it up and in and muscles it for 2 more points. 60-36 the lead, 3:35 left.
Jackson is so strong down low. He plays as if he's almost a 5, and he's 6 foot and he runs a guard position, but so strong on the finish.
little too much contact down there on the shot for Joe Kelley, who will head to the line. Kelley just checked in for the Saints. As Jackson's going to look to check out here.
Stryker picks up his second foul. But I guess that doesn't really mean very much when a new 5 is coming in.
Standing ovation right now for the Carroll Chargers starting 5, who were able to put it out when it counts. 60-36 right now, the lead when they walked out. Good showing from them offensively, and there's no SAC Holiday Tournament Championship hangover for these Chargers right now.
15 points for Jalen Jackson, finishing the night just where he averages, 15.3 points. Averaging per game for him. Jalen Jackson had himself quite the night. But now we see a new 5, and exactly what offense Beasley wants to run with this 5.
Get these guys some more minutes. As both squads really digging into the benches, getting some guys some valuable varsity time that they might not get. And we'll get a shooting foul right there.
That could have went both ways, either a travel or a shooting foul. Or a charge. It could have went all 3 ways.
At this point in the game with 3 minutes left, I think it's safe to just go with the shooting foul there, as the shot is no good. And I'm looking for a number on number 25. It's got to be a varsity player coming up because he's not on the official varsity roster. But he knocks down 1 of 2 on the shot, or on the free throws. And now Carroll with 2:50 left, looking to run out the clock. Chargers are going to move on to 9-1. Meanwhile, the Saints will drop to 2-7. Carroll also stays undefeated within the conference, 3-0, and the Saints still looking for their first win within the conference. Carroll goes on tomorrow night to play East Noble. That's a sectional potential opponent for the Chargers. That'll be at Carroll High School. It'll be live here on SummitCitySports.com. Meanwhile, for the Saints, they'll travel to Lawrence Central tomorrow, facing off in Bankers Life, or Bankers Life Fieldhouse, rather. So a little bit of a special event there.
The Saints definitely have to start off their next couple games in a fast-paced scenario where that offense is continuing to run what they know how to run, but find that leader that can run that sole offense and run it to create the points and produce ultimately turnovers on defense that force themselves for second chance opportunities.
Well, that first quarter run they went on, it was night and day. I mean, Carroll made the adjustments, give them credit there, but Saints offensively just couldn't put it together in quarters 2, 3, and 4. Carroll did a nice job defensively and also really ramped up their offensive push, but it was tied up 19-19 as we came out of the first quarter, and we thought we might be in for a long one at close, and SAC battles we're accustomed to night in and night out here in conference play, but Carroll put the foot down, went on a 19-2 run in the second quarter.
And as you mentioned, it was kind of like night and day for the Saints to be able to make that comeback like they've done it before, and that's exactly what they had to keep pushing and create those offensive opportunities. But their defense was very strong at the end of the first quarter, let alone. Carroll started off very strong, and Carroll starts off very strong in multiple games this year. But you see in the SAC Holiday Tournament that Carroll knows how to finish and they know how to start. Whether it comes in the second half, they need to put that pace down and figure out how to score some points. But Dwenger has the potential to be good and be good this year.
They're just putting it together right now, are the Saints. And the record 2-7, you might want to throw it out, especially as you get closer to sectional play. Postseason, everyone starts 0-0. No wins, no losses. So there's some things you can build on. That first quarter is definitely something that head coach Kostop's going to want to look at and really reflect and kind of coach his guys on. But there's also some things you're going to want to look at, and some things you might want to say, okay, let's not take a step back here, and let's fix these things so they don't happen again later on in the season. I mentioned at Lawrence Central tomorrow. That'll be in Indy at Bankers Life Field. It's a special event there, playing where the Pacers play, the Indiana Pacers, and then their second game will be against New Haven a little bit on later next week. So.
Speaking of the Pacers, Victor Oladipo comes back January 29th. A little motivation for some Indiana Hoosiers who are some Pacers fans.
Big announcement there for the Pacers as they've looked pretty good. I'm trying not to get into too much professional talk here at the amateur level, but Pacers have looked good so far without their star in Victor Oladipo. That'll be fun to watch, but Saints will be playing in the same spot where Oladipo will be playing here in a couple weeks. tomorrow in Indy. 60-39, the Saints have kind of brought this one back a little bit more. Here's the reserves. They're getting some time at the free throw line. It's Jason Kachansky, who couldn't get the front end. Back underway quickly come the Chargers, but it's picked off. Nice feed up and in for Campbell. Some younger guys getting some minutes for the Saints and contributing, bringing this one a little bit closer on the scoreboard of what it's going to actually end up probably would have been. Carroll's still yet to score with their reserves since their starters are checked out with about 3 minutes left in the game.
And you see the IQ out of O'Shaughnessy coming down and picking the Chargers offense, but
nice feed up the floor as Campbell rattles in 2 points. And under 25 seconds left. This gym's starting to clear out a little bit, and I think the Chargers are going to hang on to this one as they will look to dribble the ball out, I believe. 14 seconds left. As almost turned it over, and then they almost did as Kirk with it now. Micah Kirk over to Zach Castetter, and that will do it. So Carroll moves on, 9-1 on the season, 3-0 in conference play. Meanwhile, the Saints drop to 2-7 and 0-2 in conference play. Peyton, you want to go over the leading scores and what we got some final notes before we sign off on tonight's broadcast?
Just a great game overall for both teams to be able to come in and play a highly contested SAC matchup. But leading scores for the Carroll Chargers, Ryan Preston with 15, Jalen Jackson with 15, and Sam Stryker with 12. And for the Bishop Dwenger Saints, Brendan Lytle with 7, Hunter Burns with 10, and Shively with 7. Once again, both teams kind of just came out and shot around. First quarter was a little bit slow, but the Carroll Chargers made the comeback, put it up, and made the possessions and the runs that they needed to make this game their own and to stay undefeated in the SAC.
I think it'd be criminal if we didn't take a look at the replay of Richie Gross going in on Brendan Lytle one more time before we take a look at the break. So we'll replay that one more time as we get our track and athletic performance Summit City Sports replay. Chargers setting up the offense. This is one of the true last possessions, I think, for Carroll with their starters in the game. As Richie Gross comes off the screen from Brandon Lytle and just trips him up a bit. And nice ball movement all around for the Chargers, putting it in for 2 points right there. But that will conclude tonight's action from Bishop Dwenger High School as Carroll sweeps the doubleheader in the girls and the boys side. Girls get the win, boys get the win. This one's a final 60-43. I'm Balin Height for Peyton Manell and Joe Hacker on the camera for tonight's contest. You have been watching Indiana High School basketball on SummitCitySports.com.
Sports Medicine's integrated sports medicine team is built to serve the needs of all athletes in all sports. Our team's only goal is to improve athletes in every facet. PSM offers performance training to help athletes get better on the field, dedicated athletic rehabilitation and physical therapy to help them get better off of it, certified athletic trainers in our PSM schools providing daily support to our athletes, and a specialized orthopedic walking clinic when injury strikes. Call 260-266-4007 to speak to our care navigators or visit ParkviewSportsMedicine.com to learn more about what we can do to improve athletes at all levels.
For every victory, for every highlight, for every team in the Summit Athletic Conference, we've got you covered. Like, follow, and subscribe for all the latest.
The Acme Bar and Grill, where neighbors meet. A Fort Wayne tradition since 1941. We feature nightly dinner specials along with our iconic pizza, wings, and pork tenderloins, and barbecue in our family-friendly atmosphere with a retro flair. Additionally, we offer a full bar with 26 beers on tap from various Midwest breweries. We also have an area perfect for private events such as meetings, reunions, and banquets that holds up to 50 people. The Acme Bar and Grill, located in the heart of East State Village, where neighbors
Give your home the curb appeal it deserves and trust Kurt's Mio to power wash your home. Additional services include concrete sealing, deck and fence cleaning, driveway replacement, and stamped concrete. Just head on over to kurtzmio.com. Request your virtual quote and use the code SummitCity for 15% off all power washing services today. That's kurtzmio.com, supporting the youth of Fort Wayne.
The Kelley Automotive Group is simple, transparent, reliable. Simple. Our customer specialists make buying a car easy and fun. Transparent. Our price listed is the best price. No hassle, no gimmicks. Reliable. Buy with confidence and peace of mind. We work hard to ensure the best value however you shop. Come see us in Decatur at the 2733 Auto Mall and shop 7 brands in one location. The Kelley Automotive Group. Simple, transparent, reliable.
Joint pain, sprains, strains, or a possible broken bone? Make the Parkview Ortho Express walk-in clinic your first stop when you have an orthopedic or sports injury. Parkview Ortho Express, located at the Sport 1 Parkview Fieldhouse, gives you access to quick care and orthopedic physicians when you need it most. Get x-rays, treatment, and referrals to Parkview Care, all in the convenience of a walk-in clinic. Parkview Ortho Express is open Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Call 260-266-4007 for more information. Developing athletes to be foundationally strong. Healthy and consistent training. Expert staff. Long-term athletic development. Parkview Sports Medicine Performance. Any athlete, any age, any skill level.
I was once a Southside kid who was led on a journey by high school football. A journey that taught me discipline, toughness, and the skills that made me a success. As a businessman with a CPA license who owns his own firm, I still use the building blocks of high school sports in my everyday life. Someday sports will end no matter what level you reach, but you will be left with the skills to compete in the next game, the game of life.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our camera. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.